Hi, I'm Libby Cornish from Decadent Alternatives. Welcome to my 13th video in my online gluten-free baking classes. Today we're going to do hot cross buns. Now these differ from a tinned loaf in that you really want to eat them hot, basically, nearly straight out of the oven. Now if we're going to cut into a tinned loaf when it's straight out of the oven, basically it's going to collapse. So we need to make it, the structure of the bun higher, more rigid, but still have a wonderful fluffy interior. So to do this, I add in maize starch, which tends to dry out the dough or the actual finished bread, but also the starch actually sets at a higher temperature, meaning that you can eat it, you can cut into it a lot sooner than you would be able to if you didn't have it in there. So the mix I have at the moment, this is Baker's Magic gluten-free flour, brown sugar for a bit of flavour, maize starch, cinnamon, allspice, and mixed spice with a bit of salt. We have butter, warm milk, sultanas and raisins, and yeast with sugar to activate the yeast. I already have an activated yeast here. Basically, I'm going to mix it in the stand mixer because the cutting action in a food processor makes the dough a lot runnier, and we don't want that. The other thing that I have added in, because maize starch, when you put maize starch into a blend, it will start to become runnier. So I've added in an extra bit of psyllium husk, basically to make it stick better. So we'll put in the milk, butter, and that will easily mix in quite well. Yeast, activated yeast, sultanas, and our flour blend. I'm going to mix it for a little bit and then make sure that everything is combined. There's no flour on the bottom. Make sure you get right underneath the beaters. And you can see that the mix is starting to get thicker. That is about ready. Now to get the buns, we want to have them basically roughly 88 grams each. 15. I have my tray that I use can fit 5 by 3 buns. Now, one of the things that we need to do, the difference The difference, the huge difference, is how do I actually make little buns out of this sticky mess? And the answer is oil. Because flaxseed is an oil seed, and one of the first videos, second video I showed you just how much the Baker's Magic flour soaks up oil. The best way to roll out any buns is with oil, not flour as that you do it with wheat. So I'm going to put a little bit of oil on my baking mat. Spread it around just a little bit and put my dough mix on top of the oil so it doesn't stick. I'm going to oil my hands a little bit and move the dough into basically a log shape. And out of this, I'm going to get I put it in this dish. I'm going to make 15 small balls. So if I divide it into sort of 3, well, that one's a bit fatter, and then cut them again. So that might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, 15. These are not going to be even sizes, but basically then you want to roll them and put them in, and don't worry about the amount of oil, it will absorb. Normally in my face-to-face classes, I'll have somebody come and help me from the audience to roll them. It is important to roll so that you get that nice dome. If you're running out of space and you're finding it hard to actually get the last row in, just tip the pan up a little and there you have. Now, if you need to have a stripe. So I have made up a stripe mix and I've put it into a plastic bag. I've cut the tip so I can then pipe the stripe on the buns. Now I have already made some buns previously. These would go in for proving for half an hour and then they would be baked at 200 degrees for 30 minutes. I need to perhaps wash my hands. However, I'll just pull over finished lot of buns that I baked. I have glazed them just with a simple sugar syrup, basically, when they're hot out of the oven. These are no longer hot, but I'll go and wash my hands and come back. Clean hands now. Fantastic. So then they can just pull them apart. Nice and soft. Thank you for listening.